Okay. Hello, everybody. It's a Wednesday, and I am the crazy old LA lady getting crazier by the day. I'm going to talk about several things today. Feel free to, move ahead if you're not interested in whatever I'm discussing because you might like something down the road that I'm discussing. So feel free to do that. I do that sometimes with videos I'm watching. Sometimes even if I really like someone, I'll go, okay, well, I'm not really interested in this part, and I'll scoot it ahead a little bit, and that's fine. Go ahead and do that if you want to. The first thing I'm going to talk about today, very briefly, because I'm sure it's not going to be that interesting to people, is my looks, my appearance in my 70s now. And my grandmother used to say, hey, as long as you don't frighten the horses. That was her. Of course, she was born in 1886, so there was a lot of horses around back then, quite commonly. So her attitude was be comfortable and don't worry so much about how you look. Now, of course, because I've made most of my living as an actress, I've had to worry about my looks because everybody else was busy judging my looks, and that was part of my job, to be concerned with how I appeared to other people. Now, I was certainly never glamorous, and I never even tried to be. And when I got the job as Lady Luck, it was not because I was glamorous. It was because I was relatable and funny and not too threatening. I think they basically wanted somebody who was not too threatening, and really, really gorgeous women can, intimidate people. I certainly wasn't in that category. So when I'm on these videos, I have a little bass on, because otherwise it'll be like, Melanie in the comments, are you okay? Have you seen your doctor? Because, I'm so pale. And I put the white in white woman. So although sometimes I have gone on here with nothing on my face except my face. So, that's what's going on. My eyebrows and eyelashes are white blonde and always have been. This is not age. This is, how I've always looked. Some people who are born with, blonde hair, their everything darkens as they get older, including their eyebrows and eyelashes. Mine never did. I always had white blonde eyebrows and eyelashes. So, so I could pretty much put my eyebrows in wherever I wanted them. Couldn't really see them anyway. But now I'm not pretty much bothering with that. I put on a little stuff on my lids, a little lipstick, a little blush, and that's pretty much it. And I'm good to go. Now, when I was doing Lady Luck, as I said, one of the comments that was made by a costume person, makeup person, I forget which she was, and she knew I could hear her. She knew that she was going to hurt my feelings with this, and she did it deliberately. She said, oh, I see that's going on here. They're going with Appalachian Haggard. Yeah, that's what she said within my hearing, and knew perfectly well that I heard her. And I'm like, whoa, and I was in my 30s then, so I was like, wow, I didn't think I'd reached Haggard yet, but maybe. Barefoot on, standing next to a still somewhere, I guess. Anyway, but it's like, that's how I appeared to some people. That was fine. That was fine. As long as they enjoyed seeing me, as long as I made them comfortable, and as long as they had fun seeing me, that was good enough. And on here, I'm not going to take a lot of effort to try and make myself look good. It's pretty much what you see is what you get. Okay. So, next thing I want to talk about is some of these Tesla demonstrations have been getting violent. Not many of them, but some of them. And I want to admonish you all, if you're doing any of those, do not be violent. Because that's what they want. That's what they want. That agency, that peace agency, where they sent in Doge, and it was like a separate agency. It didn't have anything to do really with the main government at all, but they sent in Doge, and then they brought in marshals to say, yeah, you got to let these guys in. And then after that, the people at the peace agency actually called the DC police, and the DC police sided with Doge and kicked them out, and they changed the locks and everything. So, and the FBI, apparently they also had FBI people in there. So what's happened is a lot of these people that have been replaced, thousands of people being fired, they've been replaced with goons and thugs who will do whatever yes, sir, whatever Trump and Elon want them to do. You cannot depend on them to be on the side of protesters who are just peacefully protesting, let alone anything else. You certainly do not want to do violence because that's kind of what they want. I think Trump would really love for you guys to just go nuts and start burning stuff down, all of us, because then he can declare martial law, he can set his goons and thugs on us, and maybe even send us to El Salvador. You have any tattoos? It could happen. So don't be violent because you will be falling into their trap. Now, if I'm not saying don't protest, absolutely protest, absolutely. All over the place. That's great. Keep it up, but don't get violent. Martin Luther King was not a violent person, but he also knew that violence was not going to work for that movement. And they allowed themselves, John Lewis and those people they allowed the other people to be violent and the contrast to be very stark. And that might be what we have to do. But definitely don't fall into the trap of becoming violent. Even though you might feel like you want to, don't do it. However, creative protests, one that I saw on Facebook, and maybe you saw, yes, I'm on Facebook, I'm old. I saw on Facebook, maybe you did too, was a guy, an artist who had created a large full-size Olmec head. It wasn't an actual original one, but he had created it artistically and dropped it on a Tesla. Now, it was not a Tesla at a dealership or anything. It was one that he had. It was donated or he bought it. I don't know how he got it, but it was not him going and doing, violence on a dealership or something. It wasn't that. And he created, and he dropped this Olmec head on this Tesla. And I would say, you don't always know what art is, but I would definitely say that was art. So if you have creative things you can do with a Tesla that is not going anywhere on a dealership or anything or anybody's private property or whatever, then go ahead and do it. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, moving on to something else is, and if you haven't already considered, a lot of you may have already done this. So if you've already done it, then, I'll see you later. But I have been on Amazon for several years. It's always been very helpful, especially during the pandemic. And I met a lot of Amazon delivery people, and they were actually very happy to have the jobs and also to be helpful with what everybody was going through. But I think at this point, it's become not something great to be doing. Now, to be honest, because I'm lazy, one of my faults, I'm going to keep my account, but I'm not going to be using it very much. I'm going to only use it for emergencies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on there, and I'm sure you guys can do this too, and many of you may have already done it. Go to the websites, especially of the small businesses that you're trying to support. They have their own websites, and you can order through them. And yes, you'll probably have to pay delivery fees and stuff that you wouldn't have to on Amazon, but you can support those small businesses by going to their websites, going to the authors you support. I know some authors. And Amazon takes a huge chunk out of any book that is sold on their site. So just so you know, that happens. So I'm going to make a list of the businesses I want to support, go to their websites, and I'm going to go to them individually on their websites in many cases. Now, I may not always be able to do that, but where I can, I am going to. And yeah, they have those commercials. You probably have seen them recently with hey, small businesses are on Amazon. Yay, here's George. He has a small business on Amazon. Yay, you need to support George. Yeah, maybe you can just find George's website and go on directly and get stuff from him. Now, maybe you can't, but you may well be able to. And if you can, great. That is what I'm going to do. Because the thing about corporations, I don't have to tell you, but I will. I'll state it, reiterate it. The only thing they pay attention to is Their bottom line, their bottom line. That's all they pay attention to. Are they making money? They don't really care about you. Now, this is a generalization. Some big business people do. There are a handful that do. But mostly it's their bottom line, their bottom line, their bottom line. Are they making money? They don't even care if it's a good product. They don't care if you're happy with. The only thing they care about, one thing, are they making money from you? That's all they care about. That's why a lot of this Hollywood stuff where, well, not just Hollywood, but a lot of companies are getting rid of DEI. They're being preemptively obeying the Trump administration. Oh yeah, right. No, there were no black people ever, or women doing anything, or Native Americans. What are you talking about? No, let's erase all that. We're not doing any of that anymore. And they're doing it preemptively because there's one thing they care about. One thing. Their bottom line. Let me do it up where you can see it. Can you see it? Their bottom line. That's what they care about. So we have to hit them in their pocketbook. And that's another way to non-violently protest that they will have to notice. So I suggest you do that with Amazon. I'm sure there are other companies, Target, and I never went to Target anyway. There's no Walmarts even near me, quite frankly. We have a Costco membership now. My husband and I, we haven't really used it yet, but we're going to. And everybody who is just like obeying and going, we're getting rid of DEI. Okay, just white men and maybe a few white women, and that's it, So can we be friends with you now, President Trump? They're just obeying in advance. And that's part of how you create a fascist regime, which is where we are going now. I'm not going to say we're there quite yet, but we are darn close to a fascist regime. I'm not going to pull my punches on this. We are darn close. And I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. You can see it for yourselves. Cliff Cash, I don't know if you know that guy. He's out, leading. He's a comedian. I would follow him if you haven't already. Cliff Cash. He's leading demonstrations against the Heritage Foundation. There's several ocracies here. There's the oligarchy, there's the monarchy, and there's the theocracy. There are several ocracies that are competing to take over our country. There's not just one. And Christian theocrats are very much in the picture as well. So we have to pay attention on multiple fronts and fight non-violently on multiple fronts. Okay, I'm out of breath, and I'm going to go do something else and stop annoying all of you. All right, see you later. Have a good week if you can.